Welcome to TAMA Talks, brought to you by the Torrance Art Museum Advocates. I'm Janine Madden, current TAMA president, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Today's talk will feature work currently on view at the Torrance Art Museum from the exhibition Bridging the Pacific, LA Art of the Japanese Diaspora in the main gallery. If you're planning a trip to Torrance anytime soon, I highly recommend you take some time to stop in and see the show before it closes on March 4th. TAM hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it's located at 3320 Civic Center Drive in Torrance, California. Because it is a municipal museum, a program of the City of Torrance Cultural Services Division and the Community Services Department, admission to the museum is free, but donations are accepted and very much appreciated. You can find the TAM on the web at www.torranceartmuseum.com. This discussion will be recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel with all of our previous TAMA talks. You can also get to our YouTube channel through our website, tamadvocates.com. I am super excited to chat today with Yoshie Sakai, whose work is a part of Bridging the Pacific show in the main gallery. Yoshie Sakai is a multidisciplinary artist working in video, installation, performance, and sculpture who lives and works in Gardena, California. She received her BFA from Cal State University, Long Beach, and her MFA from Claremont Graduate University. Her work creates an uneasy environment that embodies her love-hate relationship with consumerism and pop culture and how they simultaneously perpetuate both ecstasy and extreme anxiety in quotidian life. In videos, she acts as an undercover agent trying to expose the absurdities of a manipulative social structure, while at the same time humorously struggling and reveling in it as a participant. Yoshie's process includes performance. She often creates characters that function as avatars that act out responses to contemporary society, negotiating issues of cultural identity and familial and personal relationships and gender roles. She induces intimate situations between created personalities and the audience by staging videos within installations that are pushed to exaggerated and imaginative levels. Her work is about accessibility while nurturing human connection. Currently, she is focusing on grandparents and the challenges within a family structure of varying generations in order to encompass a wider audience beyond her current work. Her work can function as a critique of capitalism's production of space and ways of being, while also drawing on popular forms of entertainment and media to engage diverse audiences, especially those historically devalued, ignored, and seen as burdens. Examples of her work, along with additional biographical information, can be found on her website, yoshiesakai.com. And with that, I would like to welcome you. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you so much for having me, Janine and Tama, for this time for me to share a little bit about the work that I have in the museum and a little bit of the work that I do outside of the museum. But I think all the subjects are related, and I just want to thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you, Max Presnell, everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're going to share your screen now.
Yeah, so this is a little keynote presentation of the work that I do, and it's definitely related to the work that I have in Bridging the Pacific. The title screen that you're looking at right now, this is not in the show, but I like to show this because it is related to the video that you will see in the show called You're Married, Now What? And that you see in this this image, this Photoshop collage. My soap opera series that I started writing, producing, directing, and I actually play all the characters as a performative role for the camera, is called Coco's Love. And as you can see, this is Coco's Liquor. It is actually located in South Los Angeles on Figueroa and 51st Streets. It is a liquor store that my father and my uncle used to own, and it was a means of financial support for our families. And that's how they were able to take care of us. And so I use this as a backdrop for the soap opera that I created. It is fictionalized. It's loosely autobiographically based. I am very much inspired by the quotidian, as Janine had mentioned, by the everyday experiences of those around me, especially since moving back home to Gardena and living with my soon-to-be 89-year-old mom, who claims that soap operas, watching Korean soap operas, Japanese soap operas, it's what she lives for. Like during the pandemic, she's like, she's not lonely. She doesn't need anybody. As long as she has TV, she's fine. So I'm very much inspired by the soap opera genre and how the characters and storylines, although some are exaggerated, it's still very accessible in terms of the emotions and sort of the undercurrents of like family dysfunctions that are addressed in these shows. And so I decided to write my own soap opera called Coco's Love, based on the backdrop of Coco's Liquor. And I do play all the characters. The image that you see is the mother character Keiko. In the middle is the father character Hiroshi, and then the daughter Yuki, sort of patterned after myself. And yes, so this is a soap opera I began writing in late 2013, 2014. I am still in the process of creating more episodes. I'm only on episode 3, and then I have a lot of variety shows and character vignette videos based on the Coco's Love series. And one of them that you will see in Bridging the Pacific is You're Married, Now What? So I do like to start with this slide. My mother's haiku that she wrote is on the left. It's she's not a poet, but when she was in Japan before she immigrated to the United States, and this is when she was little. This is like what she remembers. I think she'll remember forever. It was the first time she was praised for anything she did in school, and it was for this haiku. And so I feel like it's very important in terms of her identity and sort of how she's lived her life and designed, how she sees herself. So yeah, so this is the beginning of my talk and the slide, and I'm gonna go to the next slide.
Great. I'm so surprised that you are all 3, because really when I watched the video, I had no idea. Like maybe I wasn't looking for it, so I didn't notice that. But that's amazing. Amazing. Okay, I'll let you.
Yeah, I play all the roles. For one, I'm very accessible. I'm around to be in the shows. Sure. And also because it is loosely autobiographical, it is based on my background, my Japanese American heritage, that I felt it was really important for me to play all the roles. And so I'm not an actor, but I am the voice.
I beg to differ. I said, I beg to differ. You did a beautiful job and extraordinarily convincing. So,
oh no, thank you. But yes. I think what's convincing is, so I am the mother character, Keiko's voice, and the daughter character's voice, but everybody else, I have them voice act to the scripts that I write. And so then I lip sync to them. And so I really think it's my voice actors who really make it. It's not really me. I'm just kind of maybe animating myself to their voice and what they're saying. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's really all me, but
great.
No, thank
great.
You. Yes. And so this work, You're Married, Now What? And this is currently at the Bridging the Pacific exhibition at the Torrance Art Museum. This is a variety show based on the soap opera that I was just talking about, Coco's Love. And this kind of goes back in time to when the mother and father character first got married. So supposedly this takes place in the 60s. And so they get married, and then I kind of put them and created this sort of newlywed game show, talk show called You're Married, Now What? And you will see the whole like 7.5 minutes in the exhibition. I have like a 2.5 minute excerpt here. So I would like to, if that's okay, Janine, I'm going to share a bit of this.
Absolutely.
As a teaser. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Thanks, Stephen. On this show, real couples in real life, really early on in their marriage, tell us their stories. So let's meet our first You're Married, Now What couple. So please introduce yourselves, your name, where you are from, and your age.
She just came from Japan a month ago. She doesn't speak any English. I'll be translating for her.
I speak Japanese, Keiko. Please get subtitles up for the audience. じゃあ、結婚は何のきっかけでしたか？
お見合い結婚です。もう29歳なので、私と家族ももう結婚しなくちゃと思いました。
残念ながら。
What kind of show is this? I thought we were just going to be asked about the facts, like how we met, when we met, the facts. Win a couple of prizes. Not this. This is unacceptable.
This is our Wheel for Real, where real couples spin the wheel for real prizes to use in real married life. Go ahead, Hiroshi or Keiko. Give the Wheel for Real a spin.
What kind of prizes are these?
This is great. What a deal. A free divorce lawyer. 無料の離婚弁護士です。
So that's You're Married, Now What? The reason for this video deals with a lot of issues for, I think, for like someone like my mother in the 60s. She was already 29 years old. You know, her parent for the 60s, her parents, my grandparents, thought she was becoming too old. You know, she needed to get married. It was time. And so it was kind of an arranged marriage, sort of like how people are internet dating now-ish, perhaps, but like friends and family, they introduce like someone like my mom to someone like my dad who are single, and they just meet a couple of times and then they feel like, oh, I think I could get along with this person. And so then they get married. So it's not really based on like the notion of love and everything, romance and all that you know we know or talk about, but they basically married because they thought they can get along with each other and live happily ever after for the rest of their life. So my parents got married. They were married in that fashion, and so the characters Keiko and Hiroshi, loosely representing my parents, I have created this show called You're Married, Now What, sort of challenging the patriarchy, making fun of it, because I know now it's quite different, but for them this was quite real, and this is how things happened in terms of meeting people and getting married and starting a family. Normally I do show my videos within an installation at the Torrance Art Museum. They are just videos. I believe the videos can stand alone by themselves. If I am offered a space, I'd like to take it over. I'd like to create these immersive environments for people to actually sit in and watch the videos. So this is kind of like, I wanted you to feel like you're on the set of You're Married, Now What? So it's a recreated sort of space where people can sit and, you know, sit in the chair where Reiko, the host, sits. You could sit in the chair where Hiroshi and Keiko sit and then watch the video. The Wheel for Real is also there. If you want to spin the wheel yourself in the space, you can do that. But yeah, I wanted to sort of, I started thinking about this kind of thing and about the free divorce lawyer. I'm not against marriage. There's nothing, you know, about that. But for me, I saw it as a way to, I guess, to gain freedom if you were in a marriage that perhaps wasn't what you expected, or you were limited to maybe what you thought you could do with your life may have been a little cut short because you started a family. And my parents, you know, they're great. I'm an only child, but they devoted themselves to me, which I do feel guilty about sometimes. I do feel guilty, you know, that if they weren't so devoted to raising me and making sure that I have a better life than them, I wonder how their lives would have been. And not to say I'm not, you know, happy that I was born, but I feel like there's a lot of issues and questions and things to think about. And so that's why I came up with this newlywed talk show called You're Married Now What.
And so what we're seeing on the screen then is actually the way, so it's an installation as well as the video. And is this the way it's set up at TAM right now?
No, at TAM, it's just the screen.
Okay.
It's
that's
just the video.
Too bad. Okay.
Yeah, but normally I would have it in installation. This is sort of another setting in a different space where that mural that I showed, I installed the screen right above the door of the liquor store, and then you can sit in front of it and watch. Yeah, so this is another iteration of the You're Married Now What, but it was originally in that space that we just saw before, where I wanted you to feel like perhaps if you were a fan of the show that you would, you know, be you would actually get to visit the set and sit and watch. But yes, and then the wheel.
Yes, I'm looking to see what else is on there. So
yeah, it's really silly. It's not like $10,000, it's 10,000 cents. So it's not really, so you're not winning a whole lot of money. I'm sure Hiroshi would have liked to have won a whole lot of money, but yeah. So there's free divorce lawyer, 1,000 cents. I guess you could go to Italy
or France.
Or friends.
Yeah, and great couples therapy. And you bring up a very, very valid point, which is this idea that especially in this generation, I guess, of online dating, you know, you only really, even in regular life, right? You really only know what you know, what you're told about someone. And until you live with that person every single day, it's quite a, you know, there's still a little bit of a stigma, I think, to divorce and just that idea of your marriage not working. So it's kind of a very interesting idea to be like, you know, soon after you're married to be gifted a free divorce lawyer. So.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I feel bad about I don't feel bad, but
no, but there's a realism to that.
Yeah. Right.
You know, there's a realism to it. It's almost like a freedom to say, hey, you know, we have this, or if you got couples therapy or whatever, we have this. Why not put it to good use, like the, you know, blender that we never use. So
right.
Yeah.
So that was sort of what all the things that I was thinking about when I created this show. And I do use a lot of humor in my work. The other piece that I'm showing at Bridging the Pacific is perhaps not as humorous. It's probably humorous because I play, again, all the roles. But I feel like humor is an important part of what I do. Not that it takes the edge off of the seriousness, but I feel like it's one way to sort of make my pieces more accessible and for people to get into what they're watching. Because humor is lighter, and then I feel like it's one sort of method to get you into the more serious topics.
Absolutely.
But, if you start off real serious first, I feel like it could scare people away, and that's not like the point of my work.
But the idea of using humor to navigate those very difficult, hard conversations about whatever the subject matter might be, I find, you know, even in the most terrible situations, to be able to handle them with humor, not to, as you say, not to lessen their severity in any way, but to make it a more tolerable conversation.
Right. Yeah. So that's Yeah, no, thank you, Janine. I mean, you you say it much more eloquently than I
No,
do, but,
not at all, not at all.
what,
But it's the more I look at it, you know, I'm seeing some other things on there, and I just think, yeah, it's a good way to deal with it at the end of the day, because no one wants to face that when you're particularly in a marriage situation where you first get married and you realize, you know, a week or so after you're married, like, this might not have been the right thing for me to do.
Right. And I feel like for someone like my parents, not that they would have, you know, gotten a divorce, but it's something more it seems much more difficult to do like 50, 60 years ago than it is now. Yeah. And I mean, it's never a good thing, but
true. And the other piece that you bring in that I think is actually relevant today is this idea that when you have a non-English speaking spouse, whether it's the husband or the wife, there is a certain degree of, you know, I'm not sure domination is the right word, but there is a certain degree of power that's held by the English speaking person in the country. And so you address that at the very beginning. And I think that is still an issue today. You know, it's still a very relevant issue today. The ability to, when we lived in Colorado, I did some English as a second language work, and I worked with some very smart women, but they all were not very comfortable speaking the language, and so therefore they felt less in the community, even though they were equally as intelligent. But without that ability to communicate. And so I'm so happy that you, as the moderator, were able to speak Japanese. That was great.
Yeah. Right. That ability, or not having the inability to speak English, it makes a huge difference. Even for now, I'm now speaking in reality in my personal life. My mother's 89, but she's still in Gardena. There's a lot of Japanese speaking people. So she's very fortunate that she's been able to sort of, you know, get by living here, because there are many people who are like her. But the fact that she doesn't speak English does put you at a disadvantage. And it's unfortunate, because being bilingual is great, you know.
That's
but
true.
At this, you know, but at the same time, it makes a lot of things, like being here, it makes things more difficult. And there's something there as well. So my mom was very dependent on my father, and now she's dependent on me, you know, as the English speaker, the fluent English speaker. I think she lets on more. I mean, I think she understands more than she lets on to. But there's a lot of, there's a lot of things to deal with.
True. And she probably understands perhaps a lot more. I think that the understanding and the auditory processing of this English language is much easier than to be able to speak it. And so I found that to be one of the things I learned very quickly, was that the ability to read and write English was so much easier than for them to speak it, as particularly with the fluidity to be understood. And so it made me root for the wife in your scenario to know that she had an advocate right from the beginning of it, you know.
Right. Yeah, because the whole being able to speak and being understood is a big for like someone like my mom, it's a big sort of fear, or they don't want to be embarrassed. You know, my friends have invited my mother over for like Christmas dinner, but then she doesn't want to go because her English isn't as proficient as everybody else. And she's like, well, how am I going to communicate with people? It's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be problematic. And then, so then she ends up not doing some social things because of the language barrier. But so there's a lot happening. You're married now. What?
Yes. Love it.
So
love it.
And then this video will be playing.
Okay, good. So you did say that so this is going to be sort of just this is going to be just on the screen inside the gallery without that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, without that very intimate space. I love that. I love that you're able to create that for people to come and sit down, and particularly with the same chairs, it looks like that you used to
Yes.
to tape it. So
Right.
record it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And so you said you also have another piece in the show.
Yes, I do have another piece in the show. So these are some other installations that I've done. Just so you can see the type of work I do in addition to the video. But I do like to create these environments for it. I'm not sure if I should be, so this is like the original, this is like a 3.5 minute excerpt of episode 1. This is how everything all got started.
Yes.
So this is not in the show, but I feel like it's kind of good background information to have in terms of like seeing the family dynamics and dysfunctions. It's really, you know, because being here, like my mother and myself growing up here, you know, we are expected to fit in and do well, you know, and so there's that notion of the model minority. So I am questioning that. We're not model, you know, we're just like any other family. There's, you know, dysfunctionalities, or communications are sometimes not so smooth, kind of haywire.
Sure.
But
no, please,
yeah, so if you don't mind me
share
sharing just
I
a
was
little
going to say,
bit of...
please share it, because I also think that one of the things that as a viewer to art, it does help sometimes to understand the inspiration of the artist and where their, you know, where their ideas come from. I was just at the Salvador Dali Museum yesterday, and you know, his work is extraordinarily imaginative, and I think that the more you understand about him, the more you understand about where his what he is trying to convey in the work that he has done. So please share.
Oh, okay. No, thank you. Yeah. So here is Coco's Love, episode 1.
いつもと同じだ。うちのすぐ近くにあるリコストアは夕べ泥棒に入られた。でもアラームが鳴ったから品物何も取られてなかったけど、フロントだけ壊して逃げたんだ。
へえ、あなたも気をつけないとね。
だからやっぱり男の子がいいんだ。必要だ。男の子だったら泥棒に入られても安心するんだ。
ゆき、ごちそうさまって言って遊びに行きなさい。ごちそうさま。
Wait here. I'm going to turn off the alarm, so wait here.
Where did she go? God, where did she go? I told her to wait right here. Damn girl doesn't listen.
Please, somebody help me. Somebody please help.
Where am I?
Faster! Alligator the Great's my name. Foreign land, far from familiarity. Find your way home, dear child. Remember warmth of place, meaning of home, love, people, community, New Orleans.
あなた、どうしたの？ユキはどこなの？ユキはどこなの？
ユキが誘拐された。アラームを止めていってる時、一人で前で待たせた。戻ったらいなかった。お前はもう口が聞けなくなったのか。 もう食べ終わった。明日は弁当がいらない。寝る。
あなたは一回もユキのことを認めなかった。男の子ってばっかり言って、一回も優しくしなかった。あなたの子が誘拐されたんだよ。悲しくもない、平気で。明日は弁当がいらないってよく言えるよ。
What happened to my wife?
Well, it looks like she attempted suicide by drowning, but she was saved because of the low tide.
But suicide?
You'll have to ask her when she comes to. She's conscious and has been calling out your daughter's name. But we still haven't found Yuki. There have been too many tragic coincidences that lead me to believe that maybe it's not just a coincidence.
Oh, is that it? Yes, that's it.
I want more. I'm already hooked.
You want more? So I have the title episode
happens.
1, but that's episode 1 and 2. That was actually 1 and 2. I do have episode 3. But yes, so that's where all this Coco's love and like you're married now what, that's where it all started with that video. So I mean it's the very, characters are over the top. Yeah,
it's very Cindy Sherman to me, you know. I'm not sure if you're, but with you know, with acting, I mean everything of hers is stills to my knowledge, but I think that that's what I'm thinking of, and I'm searching for you in each character, you know, but it's amazing.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, Cindy Sherman. Yes.
Yes.
Great one. And I'm like very flattered when people are like Cindy Sherman when they mention Cindy Sherman. I'm like, no, it's wonderful that people see that.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
I'm assuming that, again, without giving away all the secrets, but I'm assuming that, you know, with each character, there is that assumption of their personality that transcends, you know, what they're wearing. And again, so what you were saying earlier is that you're the person, but you have other people doing the voices. So you're lip syncing to their voices coming out of you. Your mouth is moving, but their voice comes out.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Correct. Yeah. Right. That's what that's always a fun part of the process as well, because a lot of people are my friends or people I meet through friends of friends, and it's always sort of a nice way. It had nothing to do with the content itself, but in terms of my process, like I really enjoy the process as well, you know, not just the result, but being able to get to know these different people throughout my work has been really wonderful. As part of what I do.
I'm so interested in this piece because so did you do all of the art behind it as well?
Yes, and I have to say I cheated a little, like the what you're seeing right now behind me being a fetus and Bathroom Style Tears Part 2. Yes, it is work that I've done actually a long time ago when I first started to do art, and it was actually for a color theory class, but I just thought, oh, this would be really great as a backdrop for my video. But it is something I created, and I do like collage. I have not actually done like collage drawing and painting for a really long time. That was my degree that I received, my BFA at Cal State University Long Beach. But yes, this is my artwork behind
Very cool.
behind myself.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about this image.
So this image is myself as a fetus. So this is, I guess you can kind of say, I know this is done 2022. You're married now. What was done in 2015, but for the Bridging the Pacific exhibition, I really wanted to show them together because I felt there was a very good conversation, very important conversation that was going on between these two videos. And for this part, yes, I am a fetus. So this is already, they've been married. Now the mother character. And in these videos, I'm not really using the Coco's characters, but you can see the sort of lineage and connection between the two. So she is now, the mother figure is now pregnant, and I'm trying to speak to her from the womb. kind of like warning her, or, you know, sort of like, did you really want to get pregnant? That kind of question about me again, like not being born, like how their lives would have been. And this, I want to, you know, talk a little bit about the personal things. And I don't know if my mom would really like this. My mom's not into my work. So she's like, why do people want to know about your stories? But for me, I always do wonder, like, what would have happened if I was not born? You know, I felt like my parents had their own lives, really their own lives, being very independent, having hobbies. Like my dad was doing photography, hanging out with friends. You know, I've seen like photographs of them from the past. My mom had her own like cosmetology. She had a little beauty salon, beautician sort of business, you know, near a train station in Osaka. And so it always like, so she was kind of like an entrepreneur, you know, and I always wonder what would have happened if like they just kind of continued living those lives. Yeah, it's something that I think about often. And I feel like for someone like my parents, I mean, they're, you know, my dad would be in his 90s, my mom is 89. Yeah, instead of thinking of that sort of traditional, what was expected of them, if they didn't do that, how their lives could have been so different. Would they have been more fulfilled? I think they're happy they had me, but at the same time, I wonder about that too, in terms of their sort of individual, independent happiness outside of creating and fostering this sort of traditional family. And so, sorry, that was a long answer.
No,
this,
it's a
what
it's
this
a great
image is. So
it's a great
fetus.
it's a great answer, and I think that you know, it's a therapy session all in its own. But at the end of the day, you're actually conveying, I think, what parents often feel. Like, would my life have been very different if I, you know, didn't have children, or if I, you know, I didn't get married, or as opposed to the child thinking, what would my parents' lives have been like if I had not been born? You know, it's it's a wonderful life twist to it, right? Like, what would life be like if you weren't a part of it? And, you know, from what you've said already, it sounds like, you know, your parents, short of your mom not getting your work, it does sound like your parents did try to kind of foster success. And I think that now, particularly, a lot of parents look at their children's success vicariously as they are successful parents. And so that's a huge topic of, you know, a huge topic of discussion. But I don't know if it's the color. So it's interesting that you did this piece as part of a color theory, but or the Matisse, like, you know, cut out pieces. But what is behind you?
The image that's behind me?
Yes.
Oh,
it looks like an
a
orange segment. What is that?
It is an orange. It's like the cross section of, like, if you were to split a grapefruit and you're gonna eat the grapefruit, you know, it's sort of the meat of a citrus fruit, and this happens to be an orange. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm not sure if it was again, if it was the colors that kind of drew me to it. I used it in the marketing for the TAMA talk, but given your, and at first I thought you were sort of holding up a cell phone, but now I think it's just your arm position. And because I really truly, when I first looked at it, did not make the connection of the fetus. So is the orange part her belly? Is that the shape of it, her stomach?
Or actually, it's supposed to be in utero. So
gotcha.
It's like inside, and then there's like an umbilical cord, which is the green sort of stem looking thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And so the other cut pieces are organs.
Organs are just sort of my not necessarily organs, but yeah, just different pieces, shapes
Yes.
that could be part of. Yeah, when I created this originally, it wasn't like the inside of a uterus, but I'm very much into color, as you can see maybe from my installations. I'm not afraid of it. I love it. I prefer it over like white walls or like any kind of monochrome. So I feel like even at the beginning stages of me learning art and creating art and experiencing art, I was very much attracted to like different colors. And so, colors are very hopeful and bright, in terms of like when you think about the future, it's like a bright future. So I thought it made sense in terms of it being like inside a uterus and that sort of potential
Yes.
before you're born. So for me, that made sense. Even though I am about to like warn my mother about like, do you want to have me? That kind of thing.
And
but
does that lend to the title then?
Yes, the Bathroom Stall Tears Part 2. And it lends to that title because eventually I would like to create I'm creating this whole world about grandparents and grandmothers, especially because I was very close to my grandmother. I wanted to create a whole venue or a whole business entertainment. It's what it's called, a grandma entertainment franchise is what I want to create. And one part of it is the grandma nightclub. As a way to celebrate our seniors hopefully in a light that you don't always necessarily see them in. So this is like sort of the vitality, sexuality, and this celebration of our seniors who are like a disenfranchised population, I feel, in American society. And so I will be creating a space called the Grandma Nightclub. And the reason why it's Bathroom Stall Tears is that I want to, in my mind, ideally, it would be that I would have these videos playing inside actual bathroom stalls. So you would sit on the toilet and watch these videos in a stall in the nightclub, where I feel like I think a lot of people, and I've done it. I mean, I can't speak for a lot of people, but I would take, if I wanted to cry or whatever, I would go to a bathroom stall. That's just some place that I can go to easily, like at school or a nightclub or wherever, to like have a moment and so have an emotional moment to myself. And so I wanted to create these sort of private spaces for my more, like private sort of personal stories about about my mother, about my grandmother. And so this one is a story more about the maternal, the mother figure. And then Bathroom Stall Tears Part 1, I'll also show an excerpt of that. That's not in the show, but this is in the show. But more based about like the sacrifices your grandparents make, like what my grandmother did for me. So
and do you feel, just as an aside before we see that
clip,
do you feel then that the role of the grandparent in America is very, very different than that it is in Japan?
No, not necessarily that they're very different. And I think that's what's kind of nice about that role of being a grandparent. A lot of people are kind of raised by their grandparents, so they're very, very close to their grandmothers and grandfathers, because they were the ones who were taking care of them maybe while the moms and dads worked. I hear that story a lot, and that's true. I think of like a lot of families, regardless of your ethnicity, whether you're Japanese or you're American. Yes, I'm just hoping that these stories sort of touch a chord, within hopefully a lot of different people and their families. Like there's something that you can identify with, hopefully, with these videos, that with these specific stories, there's a universal sort of story and emotionality that comes from these experiences. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Completely
Completely
agree. And yeah, I think I was also thinking at it from that, you were sort of saying undervalued, not necessarily disenfranchised, but that undervalued, for some reason in my stereotypical brain, I tend to think of Asian grandparents as these sort of sages who are held above all else in the community. Yes. And I don't see that happening here in the United States. And so that's kind of where that question was headed. Really, it was great. Just that idea that, for some reason we do devalue, particularly now where we're faced with, memory loss and dementia and those kinds of things that are impacting our seniors at such an alarmingly high rate. And the age at which that's settling in is being diagnosed is getting younger and younger.
Yes.
And so that idea of sort of elevating that grandparent role to say, there's value and we need to look at it in a very different way to be more grateful and more thankful for the roles that they played as we, as the parents, but also as our children were growing up in their role in their lives. So.
Yes. No, thank you. Thank you, Janine, for that. Yeah. Because I feel like we tend to forget, it's just when people get older, I feel like people you start to forget a little bit more of like their role and how important they were in our lives. Like the other video that I'll be showing is Bathroom Style Tears Part 1, but it's more about my grandmother. And what I thought about when I was thinking about that story is how my grandmother, she had like 5 children. And this is not to say anything bad about her children or even my father, but that sort of taking care of your elders and taking care of your parents when they get older. And so my grandmother went from house to house, of one of her children to take, so that the kids would take turns taking care of the mom, my grandmother.
Oh, I see. Moved. She went with each of her children for a time to be taken care of by them. Okay.
By them. Yeah. So she would be going from home to home. But it was me, not them. I was like, no, I really like my grandma. I really wanted her to just stay with me, and I wasn't thinking about her going from one uncle's house to an auntie's house. I wasn't thinking that, but I really wanted her to stay with me. But I feel, and I know it's a form of care, that they're all taking part and sharing in the duties or of taking care of their mom, but at the same time, there's something about it where I feel a little sad hearing that story, that like she's just not in one place, but she keeps going from place to place to be taken care of because, your kids grow up, they have their own lives, they have their own families. And then, what happens, to the
right
to your parents. And it's not anything bad. This happens, people are like, wow, you're only child, that means you have to take care, you're the only one that has to, you're the one that has to take care of your parents, you can't split the job with your brother or sister. And you hear that kind of talk a lot, and it's true, but at the same time I'm like, wow, like when you get older, wow, that's what happens, people are trying to figure out how to take care of you, like how are they going to take care of you, and so I feel like as you age, there's this, so I started thinking a lot about that.
And it is that tie-in you were talking about, like, from the spinning of the wheel at the beginning to, like, wouldn't it be nice if you got like a long-term care insurance policy on the wheel when you first got married? Because you just don't.
That is a good price.
You just don't think about that. Who thinks about what you're going to be like when you're 80 other than sitting on a rocking porch watching the sunset? But no one ever thinks about if you're connected to a dialysis machine or you need oxygen or whatever it might be. It's that idea we keep in our head versus reality.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yeah, I think you as the artist here are sort of capturing what's in our, what's in our minds and putting it down for us to see in a very, like you said, it's colorful, which eases the, it not that it sugarcoats it, but it eases the,
sure.
the idea that you're sort of in utero questioning whether or not you should be born.
Right. Yeah. So all that long tangent to come to
pretty powerful
this excerpt of this video, but
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll show you a little bit of this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Mama. Hey. Can you hear me? Not born yet. It's not too late. Save yourself. Save yourself. Save yourself.
Chill out with that megaphone. You don't need that to talk with me. I know what you're thinking and feeling without a single utterance. Duh. I've been a character in your other life stories.
I need to warn her. The dangers of motherhood and me being born.
It's too late. You've been conceived and own a megaphone. You've already gone shopping at the local womb mart. All sales final.
どうしてここにいるんだ。愛のない結婚をして、あの人は多分浮気もしてるし、こんな惨めな人生を過ごすの運命なのかな。自分の人生を生きて子供をこれから産まなければ。If I were here, life would be more fulfilling.
Or maybe not. それはわからない.
So that's Bathroom Stall Tears Part 2. Yeah. And then I think I'm just going to go ahead and show the Part 1. So we have like more the mother story, and this is more the grandparent story. And if you're wondering like, why, I thought you're doing more things about grandparents and grandmothers. And so why the mother? But I feel like the mothers will could eventually potentially become grandparents. So that's where that comes from.
Yes.
But yes, I'm gonna go ahead and show a little bit of this. Okay.
Great.
No, thank you.
And so it goes, night after night.
Yoshie先に入れ。わしは後で入るから。
おばあちゃん、can I take a bubble bath today? 今日はバブルバスに入ってもいい？
いいよ。
おばあちゃんが一緒に住んでくれてありがとう。おばあちゃん、I wish you were my sister. お姉さんだったらいいのにな。I hate being an only child.
一人っ子は寂しいね、ヨシエ。
付き合ってくれるお姉さんがいたら寂しくないよ。
同じ年だったら一緒に遊んであげるけど、ごめんね。
よし、ごめんな、わしは何にもしてあげられないで。お小遣いもあげんと。ごめんね。
That's okay, おばあちゃん。I don't need any money. For some reason, she believed Obachan should be giving some allowance to their grandkids, that was part of spoiling them.
Okay, so yes, that was Bathroom Stall Tears Part 1. So yeah, so that's what I was thinking about with my grand, the little sacrifices they make, and for her it was like letting me take a bath when she did live with me, letting me take a bath first, and then she would take a bath in my dirty water. And, I would sometimes be like, yeah, so I would be like, obachan. Obachan is the Japanese term for grandmother. I would be like, no, obachan, you go first, but she never went first. She always, took a bath after me. And I feel like that's kind of how that generation probably lived their life, in terms of how they thought about their relationship with their children and then with their grandchildren like me. So,
and is that a piece at the museum also? Is that particular?
No, it's actually not. I only have the fetus one.
Okay. No.
Yeah. But it's all like related. So, I thought perhaps it might make sense to talk about it in totality. But the two pieces are the You're Married, Now What? And the Colorful in Utero Bathroom Stall Tears Part 2 piece. Those are the two pieces, because I felt like it had a good conversation going with sort of like the mother figure Keiko and You're Married, Now What? And then like kind of my mother. So So the other one is the bathroom one is a little bit more personal, because I didn't try to like hide behind characters. Not that I'm hiding behind characters in the other pieces, but I feel like the fact that I'm not making them sort of kind of quote unquote characters, it's a little bit more straightforward.
Sure.
Honest. I don't know. Not that the other ones weren't. So we could keep going back and forth about that.
And it will be interesting now, because like you said, as your mom, did you say your mom is going to be moving? Is it your mom that's moving in with you or your grandmother?
Oh, so my grandmother was, when she was alive, like kind of going from household to household of each of her kids. And then she ended up in the end living in my household with my mom and her son.
Okay.
But no, I do live with my mom now in Gardena. Like I moved back home maybe like 9 years ago to help a little bit, being like a caregiver, although I feel like she takes care of me more than maybe I take care of her. But
so that dynamic then still persists almost, that idea of so
it does.
it's so interesting. So interesting. Grandma nightclub. This is what you were just
we don't have to show this. This is the more fun video that would be playing on the dance floor or in the main area of the nightclub. And then the bathroom stall tears, those would be in the restrooms, more in private.
How funny.
Well,
I said, feel free to add what you've put into here, because now you're sort of bringing us a full circle to what your thought
it is full circle.
Is.
I feel like I know I started with that soap opera in 2014, but end of 2013, 2014, but it's just all related. I feel like I've been doing the same work forever. I think things just become more refined, or the storytelling, I don't know, becomes a little bit more not on point, but everything I do has been related. It's an extension of who I am.
I was going to say exactly that. It becomes your life on the video screen, basically.
Yeah. Right.
So that's why you're
my
doing
mom is like, it's like, why are you putting your life on the
right? And I think there's a difference there too, that idea that in previous generations that things were private, and but there's also a great deal of personal, like the scene we just saw with the I think it was the grandmother, or one of the characters sort of indicating their poor, maybe a choice that they didn't expect, when she was saying he must be having an affair, or that sort of thing. There's that privacy piece where they keep all of that inside, and it's very self-destructive. And so the fact that you're able to put it out there in video form as an artist really speaks to your ability to kind of process the feelings that you have, because you don't keep them all inside, and you're not that tortured soul. You're able to kind of express it in a way that other people, like we said in the bio, other people can now look at your work and relate to it and say, wow, that's exactly what I'm thinking, what I've been thinking, or what you know, the thoughts that go through my head are exactly what I'm seeing in your work, which, to be honest, I think, I'm not sure if that's the goal of artists, but I think it's on some level, artists want the viewer to be able to relate to their work in some way.
Oh, no, definitely. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I'm sure everybody, you know, like I can't speak for everybody, but I think it is a big part of, of what you make. You know, it's not.
Sure.
I mean, you could just make it and keep it to yourself, you know, like never exhibit it, and that's fine too. You know, art should be like what you do for yourself, and that something that brings you joy, or, you know, whatever emotions it brings. But I think for those who are you know, able or have the opportunity to share it or like to share it, I mean, there's a reason why, you know, and so I think,
absolutely.
I think about that.
Okay, well,
I could just end with this Grandma Nightclub. It's just it's a 1 minute excerpt. I'm sorry, there's some profanity in it, just as a warning.
Please do not,
because it's a medley of songs I made.
We've interviewed Max before, so we've had profanity.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh yes, it's ladies' night, and the feeling's right. Oh yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Can you stay up all night, fuck me till the daylight, 34, 35. You drink it just like water. You say it tastes like candy. I don't wanna keep you up, but show me, can you keep it up? Cause then I'll have to keep you up. Shit, maybe I'ma keep you up, boy. I've been drinking coffee, and I've been eating healthy. You know I keep it slow.
I put your boy on rock, and he be lining down the block just to watch what I got. It's so.
Can you stay up all night? You know what that means? Fuck me till the daylight. You know what that means? 34, 35. Means I want a 69 with you. No shit.
So that's Grandma Nightclub. In the end, that sort of guard or security guard, that's my mom, actually. She's a good sport. She's a good sport. She'll participate if I ask her.
How funny. Oh, wow. And so this is this what you're working on right now? This whole grandparent
Grandma
thing?
Yes, the Grandma Entertainment franchise is what I'm working on. So the Grandma Nightclub, the videos are pretty much, those are the videos. I just want to create an actual space for it, like to have actual bathroom stalls and things like that. So
wow, okay,
yeah, but I know this is not in the show, but I think it's all related. The
like you said,
and utero.
Yes, it does kind of bring you full circle, and that whole idea of, you know, in our brains what we think of as grandparents, when really they are just the same people that they were when they were, you know, 18 with a little more life experience. So we kind of, you know, we confer on them this crown of I don't think maturity is the right word. It's just this crown of we've sort of taken away that ability for them to dance to Fergie, right? So
not that we have it. I know people are talking about how the seniors are pretty active, you know.
But
it's not true. Something that I don't know.
That we talk about. Sometimes I hear my mother talk about things. My sister and I, my mom's 77, and my sister and I will sometimes text back and forth about our mother's use of hashtags. And so we, it's just this idea that, you know, she's young at heart, but too old to be hashtagging things that she's hashtagging about. So, you know, it's just this idea that, you know, for some reason, as we mature in life, we tend to give a sort of stature to those who should be, I don't know, behaving in a different way. I'm not sure that's fair. It doesn't sound like it is. And your Grandma Nightclub videos attest to that. So
So yes, so this is pretty much it, Janine, I think.
Well, thank you so much.
So
I do want to thank you. I'm actually going to go back and.
Oh, that's my website.
Oh, good. I was going to say, okay, so do you have a little end slide? I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay, good.
Pretty much like
keep
there's
that
more
up.
things you want to watch. Okay.
I was just going to say, keep that up because that way folks who are watching will be able to see your website and they can see your videos there. If they can't make it to the Torrance Art Museum to see what's there, there's more on your website. There's a greater, I know that your artist statement is on there, which I did not read all of it because for time, but no, don't apologize. But it gives it's kind of a tickler, right? People can get out there and learn. That's one of the benefits of doing these TAMA talks is that what it does for me, at least, is it gives me, I mean, I'm in the East Coast. So luckily I will get to California in March and I'll be able to see this before it closes on the 4th. I think we get there on the 1st. So I'm going to spin over to the Torrance Art Museum.
Okay, no, thank you. It's a great show. Yeah. I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Good. I'm so excited that and it is in conjunction with is it the 50th anniversary of our sister city?
Oh yes,
anniversary.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, it's Kashiwa, Japan.
Kashiwa.
Yes, and so I think I'm happy that Max was able to pull it together. A show like this, and really, really pleased that you wanted to join us today and give us a little bit of background about you and your work. And it's thrilling, really, for me to learn, to have the opportunity to chat with you and learn about what inspires you to create the work that you do. So thank you.